Hi, I'm Valerie. I'm the sports editor of the Daily Pennsylvanian. I'm so excited to be back hosting our second episode of Quaker Nation this season. And today we have Tampa, Florida native, 2024 first team All Northeast Region, second team All Ivy, junior goalkeeper Phillip Falcon. Welcome to Quaker Nation, Phillip.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. How have you been? I know it's been a busy weekend for you.
Yeah, been good. Just definitely in a deep part of our season right now. We had something like 5 games in 15 days, so it's been definitely a tough stretch these past 2 weeks plus a day, but happy to continue with this Ivy League play.
Definitely. I guess starting off on a more lighter note, I just kind of have to ask, Phillip Falcon, it's just such a punchy name, it's so tough. Is there a story behind it? Obviously Falcon, probably your last name, goes through your family, but is there any other fun stories you can share? Do people tell you it sounds like a movie character, like a superhero type of vibe?
I have gotten the superhero a few times. I have gotten that, but so it actually is Cuban. So my dad is 100% Cuban, and I just come from a long line of Phillips, I guess. I don't know.
Well, yeah, Phillip Falcon III. But, okay, makes sense. And then kind of growing up, I know that you played baseball and soccer, right?
I did.
What made you kind of decide, soccer to focus on, in your high school years or whenever you decided to?
So coming out of high school, I had offers to play both baseball or soccer or even both collectively at a school. So for me, my junior year of high school, I actually ended up tearing the labrum in my shoulder. Oh. So from there, I kind of just had to make a decision whether to kind of continue pursuing baseball or soccer. And I figured just with the rehab and getting back to where I would need to be to play at a Division I level, it would probably be more feasible for me to do it with the soccer career path than the baseball one. I mean, I have no regrets. I love soccer. I also love baseball, though, so, it was kind of a tough decision for me, and, I'm really just happy to be here. My coach was very also open-minded with me when I tore my labrum here. A lot of schools actually ended up kind of, stopped talking to me and, kind of, lost interest.
Yeah.
But Gil here actually, funny enough, the senior goalkeeper my freshman year tore his labrum also. And so he was actually very comfortable with the return to play process, and it just kind of really showed that he cared about me as more than a player, but also as a person.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. It was kind of a nice kind of vehicle for you to truly see what schools were genuinely interested in developing you and just interested in you in general,
Exactly.
Do you think there's an alternate universe where you were on the baseball team and
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a alternate universe where I, could have played baseball some other schools, but with soccer, I was definitely getting better looks from better D1 programs versus baseball. It was kind of low D1, mostly D2. So kind of just having to make a business decision there to just continue to pursue soccer.
And then anything else that really attracted you to come here, other than, of course, Coach Gill's and genuine interest? Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, just talking to Gill in the recruitment process, he was still, relatively new to the school, but I could see that the team was on an up and up from when he got there to where my recruitment process started. So just seeing kind of this upward trending line for Penn soccer, it was just something that I wanted to be a part of. And obviously the year before I got here, we won the Ivy. So it was just kind of a little sweetener into the deal of me coming here.
Yeah, of course. And then you came in 2022 or 2023? 2023, and then you guys won the regular season then, one after. Yeah, so obviously a good investment. Let's talk about your first career start. I'm pretty sure you started in the semifinal of Ivies, right?
I did.
Kind of intense first game. What was it before when you knew you were going in? Were you nervous?
Yeah, so going into the game, just the week up, obviously I had no plans to play in the game because we had Christos in front of me. But earlier that week in training, we were just doing a mock penalty shootout. just to, try to replicate it. And when he dove, he dislocated his shoulder. And you can just feel the wind kind of from the team just kind of get sucked out almost. And it was just because
the energy kind of
he was, one of the best goalkeepers I ever had the privilege of training with. He was our guy, our captain, super important person to his team. But just seeing that, it definitely wasn't, probably the best for team morale. But I think a lot of guys on the team kind of just have this next man up mentality where okay, Stoats went down, obviously not ideal right before, our semifinal, but life doesn't stop. The world keeps spinning. We have to move on with what we have. And so for me, just getting the call up is I remember I told the guys, listen, I know I'm not Christos, but I'm Phillip Falcon. Let's go. There's still a big game ahead of us, and I'm not going to back down from it, just I know you guys aren't either.
Yeah, definitely. It's just kind of taking the, I don't want to say punches, because it's
definitely just taking it on the chin and just moving.
Just moving forward. I think that also speaks to the culture you guys have within the team. It's you're always helping, even if you're not starting, you're always training, you're always prepared for whatever comes next for you, whether it be you're getting more minutes or you're staying on the bench for a little bit more. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Is there anything else, obviously that mentality helped, but is there any more specifics on how you guys approach practices and involving everyone there?
Yeah, so for practice we definitely try to keep it as close to real game intensity as we can. We don't really have any days where we just kind of have a light day of practice almost. Some days are less workload, but I wouldn't say the intensity overall drops. I think that just kind of helps us keep us in gear for when big games do roll around, we're not caught off guard or surprised, because every day when we step out into the field, we're treating it just like it's the same big game that we're going to play in.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And I guess kind of going back to you individually, were you what kind of drew you to goalkeeping originally? The adrenaline, the leadership, or something else? Or you were just always oh, this is what's for me? Yeah,
so when I was little, funny enough, the goalkeeper I had on my, I don't even, U11, U10 team, somehow broke his wrist or something, and he couldn't play. And they were just who wants to go play goalie? And I was just sure, I'll do it. I don't know, I'll fill in. And I stepped in net, and I ended up playing well. And I was oh, this is fun. I can get behind this. I really enjoyed it. And then just from there, I haven't looked back.
Totally makes sense. I feel there's a lot of moments where it's just kind of you taking advantage of these opportunities and just making the most of it. Would you say that's a big part of kind of your mindset just approaching goalkeeping in general? I'm just thinking of oh, you taking advantage of this opportunity, being the goal just when you were little, making the most of your recruiting and where you were at. Is that kind of something that extends into kind of goalkeeping when you're in the box? Just focusing on brush off if the opponent made a goal, it's go brush it off. Let's just go on to the next one.
Yeah, definitely as a goalkeeper, you can't really spend too much time dwelling on, what happened in the past or why you got there or why you're in the situation you're in. You just kind of have to take it for what it is. Kind of like I said earlier, just take it on the chin and just keep moving. The team needs you. We need to go win this game. And guys aren't going to trust you if you're standing in the back and you're scared. So just going out with confidence is definitely important.
Makes sense. And I guess speaking on confidence and all of that, last season your first full season in the box. What did you kind of take away from that season as a whole? Of course, it was huge for the team in general, but more so individually. Was there any kind of learning curves you had coming into the season? Anticipating you're going to play a lot more than you did obviously the year before.
Yeah, so I guess the difference between that season and my freshman season was when I went in freshman year, it was kind of oh, he's a freshman, it's his first game, kind of I guess people were gonna take it easy on me even if I played well or not because of the circumstances versus sophomore year it wasn't oh, that's just freshman Phillip. Like, it's, you know, like, you're the guy, you're the starter. Like, it's time to, like, really get this ball rolling and, like, you know, not really too much forgiveness, I guess, for, like, any mishaps or mistakes that I maybe would have been granted freshman year.
Okay. Yeah, that totally makes sense. There's a little bit more of, like, a bar set.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally. And then I guess, but more specifically, you know, you guys had those really tough losses, you know, in the Ivy final and the first round, in the NCAA tournament, the second round. How did those kind of, like, shape how you guys were approaching, like, this season, if you're thinking back, like, way to the beginning of the season?
Yeah,
I mean, a rough way to end.
Like, the season we had last year was definitely, like, one of the best we've had in, like, program history. But I think something that I love about our team was that we still felt like there was more left for us on the table. And so I think coming into this year, it was kind of like, let's go get what was left for us on the table last year, and let's just go grasp it and run with it and see what we can do.
Totally. And I guess kind of like on that note, you know, it's a little bit obviously different this year. You guys had a big senior class, like, graduate. I can kind of, like, tell it probably hasn't, but has anything kind of in the culture of the vibe of the locker room changed at all? Or is it kind of, again, like that kind of next, like just next man up mentality coming through?
Yeah, I mean, obviously our senior class last year was super influential to our team. Like, Leo Bernie, Stoss, Messer, Mendo. I mean, you can name every single one of them in the class. But, I mean, they all were, like, starters and super important to, like, our team and our culture. But I think, like, one thing they did was kind of make sure that everyone was bought in all the time to, like, what it meant to be a Penn men's soccer player. So I think, like, even though that they are gone, I think they kind of left, like, a mark on, like, what our program should strive to be. And I think that they were, like, great role models for, like, our current guys to kind of, like, shape ourselves after, and then also to kind of, like, show us how we can also, like, form our next, like, generation of incoming players into, like, what we need them to be.
Yeah, totally. I think that's, like, a key part of leadership in general. Not only, like, you know, being the role model yourself and, like, kind of showing whoever's, you know, like, around you, your teammates, whoever it is, kind of how you should be approaching things, but it's also making sure that you're also teaching them how to teach the next people and all that good stuff. So, yeah that totally makes sense. I guess, again, like, kind of looking into this year now, like, who have been some of, like, the biggest voices and leaders in shaping, you know, this team's identity, like, this season, and kind of not, like, I guess just stepping up in general.
I mean, a few people come to mind. Definitely Patrick Aielli, like, one of our captains. He's really stepped up into, like the captain role on our team. Like, he's been really, like, influential in, like, getting, like, even, like, all the way down from, like, our starters to, like, our freshmen, just keeping us all in line, getting us all bought in. And I would say another one would be Oliver Pratt. Like, I mean, he really just, he's a huge glue guy for our team, I would say. Like, he really makes sure, like, we bring the energy every day, and, like, there's never been a day where I doubt, like, his care level for the team. You know what I mean? Like, this guy, like, bleeds Penn men's soccer. Like, so I would say those two definitely are super influential. And, like, JR kind of stepping up into, like, his captain role this year. I know it's been obviously kind of tough with his injury. But, I mean, even then, like, when he's not on the field, he's still super good at, like, talking and making sure guys know, like, to kind of be on the straight and narrow.
Makes sense. Anything memorable, like maybe, like, locker room talk or right before a game from these leaders that you can think of? We're just, like, kind of.
Yeah, I don't know how much I can quote on them on.
No, you're good.
On
like,
a podcast,
like,
but
like,
know,
any, like,
some
memorable
questionable
moments. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Patrick Aielli before, like, our preseason game this year against Princeton. Like, even though maybe not the result we wanted, like, he definitely kind of made it a way to, like, set the tone to get us ready for the season, just with his speech.
Awesome. That's great. And then now looking towards, like, you know, last 3 games of the regular season, kind of not the definitely like undefeated Princeton, Dartmouth, Yale. What is the team's like focus heading into these 3 games as you finish up the regular season?
Yeah, I mean, definitely we are looking at the table and like we realize how important these next 9 points can be for us to make the tournament. So, I mean, just next week going up to Dartmouth, like that's going to be like a must-win game for us. Got to win that, and then coming home playing Yale and Princeton, like these are just some big like implications on the table. So we definitely need to just go out there and get what we can from the points.
And just kind of like locking in, executing. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. And I guess more in the individual side, on your side of the table, like being a goalkeeper, obviously there's just a lot like mentally, and how do you handle kind of like that pressure or kind of like the aspect of like just being kind of by yourself, like, to some extent, like in the box?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely it's a high stress, high pressure, position I play that I, imposed upon myself. But I mean, a lot of times, like whenever I'm feeling like this pressure or like nerves or anything before the game, like I just think back to times where I was playing well and like having fun with the game. And that always is like my why, like my reason to kind of keep pushing through. Like, I mean, there's no better feeling than like playing out away, like away crowd and like stopping a shot that everyone thought was going in and like hearing like the come from the crowd. Like that's my reason. So like, whatever stress and pressure comes from that, like I just know my love for the position outweighs anything like that can come along.
Totally makes sense. I think that's like kind of the coolest parts about more of like these kind of sports where the crowd is pretty like present, it's like soccer, football. You definitely hear their reaction. Definitely a really, really nice like instant gratification moment. It's like, yeah, I did that. I was a swimmer in like growing up, so we can't hear anything.
Yeah, you're under the water.
It's actually like literally like dead silent in our heads, but yeah, that totally makes sense. It's just like having those like affirming, moments, memories.
Yeah.
And it helps with the, the actual literal auditory confirmation. Do you have any, obviously we mentioned this one, but any other like routines maybe before the game or like other mental cues you use, or kind of like, that's the big main one?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I just try to, sit down and kind of just have as much alone time as I can before the game. Just try to sit there and like lock in. Like I don't really like talking to too many people. Like I kind of just like being in my own little world. And I mean, we have the same game day routine every day, or every game day, sorry. And just going through it with like my goalkeepers, like we all have like our own little like niche habits we have on game day, like whether it's just like certain times to give high fives or anything. Like it's like we're a little odd group of people, but we like our little world we live in.
What works is what works. I'm not gonna say anything. Like swimming is like the same thing, like not performative, but like in a way that there's just the same high pressure, high stakes, and it's just you. So I always think of like when you were saying like, oh, you like to be alone and like keep to yourself. I always think of there's this like Michael Phelps meme where he's like locked in with his headphones, it's like this anger face on. He's like,
If you come into the locker room, that's probably me sitting in the corner.
So maybe you're just manifesting. You're like the next like Michael Phelps in soccer of goalkeeping. I don't know, but yeah. And kind of like, again, more so on you individually, you missed the start of the season with your injury. How was that like recovery process been? Kind of what was it like, watching from the sidelines and just taking a step back for a bit? I mean,
going down in warm-ups 5 minutes before the start of our first game of the season is definitely less than ideal.
Yeah.
But, I mean, shout out David Howard for going in and playing really well in my leave. Like, I mean, that guy worked so hard every day, day in, day out, and really pushed me to be the best version of myself. So it was really, like, as much as it sucked for me to kind of go down with an injury, like, I was so happy to see him go play. Like, that's one of my best friends. Like, I know we compete for a position, but, like, I love that guy. So it was really good to see him do well. And, just, like, when I was hurt, like, taking a step back from the team, I think kind of made me like realized how much I really like missed it and how much I loved it. So for me, it was just going to PT every day, like whether it was with Shaker or my trainer Anthony, like both of them really just helping to get me right, just get back on the field and go out and be able to play with my friends again.
It's a very like nuanced feeling, like being, you know, out, being a little disappointed, but also like your best friend up there.
It almost felt like surreal, like being, you know, like warming up for the game and then going down. It was like the guy you spent all this time, you know, getting ready, and it was like,
damn,
my ankle, really? Like, come on.
It's like, did you, what's, on more of a lighter note, what's your favorite part of it being a goalkeeper that people might not realize?
I mean, I kind of spoke to it earlier, I guess, but like almost like the look in a striker's eyes when like you take away their goal, like the happiness just like draining from their face for that split second really gets me up in the morning and helps me to go do my job.
Okay, so makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I think the emotions really like just drive that home, you know, like having that etched in your memory.
Yeah.
Another more like fun question: do you choose which like goalkeeper set you guys use, like the neon green one and the blue one, or are you just like told which one to wear? Do you have a preference if you guys get to choose?
We get normally like sometimes we get an option just depending on like what each team is wearing. So like if we're in like our darker kits, then most of the time we only have the choice between the neon green and then the blue. But my favorite uniform is the black that we have. I love it. I think it's super cool. But I would order it like black, then blue, then green in that order.
And they're like all the exact same, right? Okay.
Yeah, they're all the same. They're just different colors.
Do you have a lot of pictures of you in the black one, or you know?
The black one, it's like a delicacy when we get to wear it, just because most of the time when we are in our white uniform, it's because the other team is in a dark uniform. So the stars kind of have to align a little bit for us to wear the black. It's like a little special occasion.
Okay. Makes sense. Of course, you like the one that like you can't.
We
really
never
wear
get to
too
wear.
often.
Yeah.
You know. And I guess kind of more like a forward-looking. I know we were talking more on your season, but more of like just the soccer world in general. You know, the World Cup coming to the U.S. Both teams I'm pretty sure who are playing here are using like roads as a practice site, which is really cool. Kind of what is, I guess, just maybe like the World Cup in general mean to you coming to the U.S. as you know, player and like probably a fan. I hope.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think it's just really good for the U.S. to kind of see what it means to like have athletes on that big of a scale come play here. Like obviously we have the MLS, but with the World Cup, we're really bringing like all of the best players from all over the world to like one area. So I really hope this kind of like helps spur on the next generation to kind of like fall in love with the sport the way I have. And I think hopefully this will help grow the game even more in the next 2 years, is it coming, or next year?
Yeah, next year. But they had like the Club World Cup this past summer. So,
so next year, hopefully, you know, I think it'll be good for the young generation to really see what it looks like and actually be able to go and watch the games versus on TV.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And like how it's like in different sites too. So it's actually very impactful on like, you know, like local communities. I know like I'm originally from Jersey and like I live 20 minutes from MetLife.
Okay,
so
nice.
having the final there will be really cool. I know like the youth soccer team is really big in my hometown, so I know they're looking forward to it. But like just the way that they set it up is really nice to actually like have a bigger impact on like more like of the locals, like youth and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll definitely go try to watch one of the practices out on roads if they let me. If I can break in.
If
I can sneak in.
You know the people.
Yeah, I know I know the way. I know my way around. Well,
you know the little like the
backdoor entrance.
Exits. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Well, on that fun note, well, thank you again for coming in the office, you know, on this really tough, like, game stretch. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Of course.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you.